Hello there, everybody. It's Max Clausen, and bringing you a deck profile of my branded, and it's not very much, but I call it my branded PredaPlant deck profile. So, if you guys know me, fusion summoning is one of my favorite mechanics, along with XC summoning. Then, followed by that a synchro. But I've played this deck on and off. I only just recently brought it back, and I do kind of like my build of it, but it leans more so into the branded side of things. But that's unfortunately the top way of playing a fusion deck. If you're not playing something with fusion with branded, then you're lacking a little bit of power. Apparently, I may update some other profiles, but all that out of the way, always a little sidetrack. Gonna bring you the deck profile showing you my main extra inside, as I always do. If you enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, share the video, and subscribe for more. So, let's jump into this with all the intro spiel finished. So, for my Despia side of things, the brand Despia branded, I play the 2 Aluber, the 1 Despian Tragedy, I play the 1 Albion, and the 2 Fallen of Albaz. We play the 1 Spriggan's Kit and the 1 Mercurier. So this is pretty much the standard lineup of things if you're playing a deck with branded in it. Aluber on summon, he helps search for your branded spell or trap cards, mainly your fusion. And if your fusion monster happens to die by an opponent's card, you can summon this back from the graveyard and negate one of your opponent's monster effects on the field. Tragedy, if it's banished or used sent to the graveyard from the field as fusion material, you can add a card to your hand. Helps off with most of the deck, but he's there just for names. Albion is just the hand fixer. Just send a branded card from your deck or from your hand, I believe it is, to the graveyard, and depending on where it is from, you can do one other effect. The main effect is you use it send something from your deck, put it back at the bottom, then draw a free card. Albaz is the very heart and soul of many of your fusions. They need this card. So on summon, he is a walking super poly by discarding a card. Spriggan's Kit is another way of getting into your branded spell and trap cards from both the deck, grave, or banish, which is ridiculous. And Mercurier, if you have a fusion that lists Fallen of Albaz as a material, you can use this from your hand to negate an opponent's monster effect and destroy it. So it's very good to run this. I would play the ad libitum, whatever his name is, I'm pretty sure that's right. But sadly, I don't have ad libitum, so that's why you see me rocking only these cards. If I did have them, I don't know what I'd cut. Maybe something else from the other side of the deck. I mean, at this point, I may just play Branded and the Despia, but, I don't have the Bestial Lubellion, and that card's still an arm and a leg. Next up are for my other fusion material cards. I play the Dark Magician, the 25th anniversary. Gotta flex it. The Destiny Hero Dasher, and the Destiny Hero Celestial. Obviously for the Dragoon, because you can make it turn 1 in this deck ridiculously easy. And for the Phoenix Enforcer play, I do understand that if you are playing this deck, you decide to go 101, but I'm just like, I could do that, but I want to have some variety. And if my opponent happens to get rid of one, then I can fall back on the other. So that's my reasoning for it. If you don't want to play this kind of package, you don't have to play these. You can play just the Dragoon, but these things help with fusion summoning into your Albaz stuff and or using them for Lure of Darkness, which, spoiler alert, we do play Allure. So that's the reason I play these. If you don't want to run all of this, you can only run this, which would be the better option, but I also have these just because I can get the draw effect should the game go on to a turn 4 or so. Next, I am rocking out with the 3 Keeper of Dragon Magic. I am so happy that I was able to pick this up from somebody at my locals. He had the holo, and I'm like, give it to me. I need it. I only have the commons, so there's that. He'll help search out for your fusion spells, so it's another way of getting to your fusion cards as quickly as possible, but we do have him just to get into one of them. His other effect is that you can reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck and summon one of the mentioned materials from your graveyard in face up or face down. Face up, you either face down defense. So he'll help get your Dragoon, to get your Dark Magician on the field, or Albaz, or so, what have you. Next, you guys are gonna laugh at me, but you know, I just keep in mind that I wanted to play this card just because I have it, and because it's a very niche card that nobody would be expecting, and if they don't remember it, then it can just help win the duel in most cases. So I am opting to use, for one of my light targets, Electromagnetic Turtle. Yeah, the soul of Yugi is here for us in this Yuri kind of deck. So, E-Turtle, then if you don't know what this card does, I don't know how you've been, how you don't, maybe, you know, you just got in. His effect, during the battle phase, you can remove this card from your graveyard, end the battle phase. Just keeps you alive, pretty much. Or if your opponent tries to run over something, they'll have to waste a negate to stop this. Otherwise, you know, if you get a turn, you can go the extra mile. So, I have him in here. He's a light target. He does something for you in the graveyard, and I like E-Turtle. Let's just give some love for our boy E-Turtle. Just look at him. So cool. I've literally always loved this card, but just never had a reason to run him. Next, I do play the 2 Ash Blossoms just to stop with interruptions from the opponent's deck. And I have the 1 PredaPlant Darling Cobra and the 1 PredaPlant Bufalicola. Darling Cobra, when summoned from a PredaPlant's effect, add a normal spell or polymerization, a normal fusion spell or polymerization from your deck to your hand. And Bufalicola, while it's in the scales, you can fusion summon without the need of a fusion card. So it's pretty good while I run him. And the last light target we do have is the Effect Veiler, but you know, it's also just to use as a hand trap. Plus we can shuffle it back. That's it for my monster count. It's a lot of monsters. Next up, we have our branded cards. We have the 3 branded opening, the 3 branded fusion, the 1 branded in red, and the 1 branded loss. I'm sorry I don't have the super rare version. I only just learned that it has a hollow version. I will get it eventually. But branded opening, activated special Despia monster from your deck or add it to your hand. So you're just going to use this to summon a Luber. And if your fusion monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can just banish this card from your graveyard instead. Branded Fusion, we all know what that does. Branded in red, we should know what it does. But add Fall of Albaz back to your hand or Despia, and then Fusion Summon. And Branded Loss, your opponent cannot interrupt your fusion-based effects with any means. The only thing they can do is just try and negate the effect. So Ash, you can still Ash Branded Fusion, even if this is face up on the field. That's it for the branded spells. Next up, we have the other fusion spells. In Super Polymerization, the 3 Fusion Destiny, the 3 Allure, and the 1 Instant Fusion. Yeah, I know Allure is not a fusion spell, but whatever. So, Super Poly, pretty standard. Discard a card, fusion summon with your opponent's stuff, which is very helpful in most matchups. Fusion Destiny, summon out your Phoenix Enforcer. Allure of Darkness, help us dig into the deck and proc off most of our monster effects that do happen when they're banished. And Instant Fusion, because we do play 2 cards in our extra deck that can be summoned off with this, so that's why we have it. Next up for my traps is that I have the 1 Branded Banishment to bring back one of my level 8 fusion monsters and fusion summon immediately. And the Branded Retribution, if I have a monster, a fusion monster, I believe, that has Fall of Albaz listed as a material, can negate that spell, trap, or monster effect, and negate and destroy it. Omni Negate is pretty good. That is it for the main deck, a clean 40. Moving off into the extra deck, as you did see, we do have the one Millenniumized Restrict. Oftentimes I will go into this with instant fusion, just so that if my opponent goes like Ash Blossom or Drolan Lockbird, even though Drolan Lockbird doesn't really hurt us per se, more so Ash. So if they Ash us while this is on the field, you know, they should know that that's going to be useless because we don't run call by. So yeah, it's really good to have this. For the few Super Poly, we have the Mud Dragon of the Swamp. For our other instant fusion target, and sometimes if they happen to, if we can smell out that they don't have the Ash, then we'll go into this. We go into the PredaPlant Ambulomelides. Can add a Predaspeller trap card from your deck, Predap card actually from your deck to your hand, so it will actually search out your Pendulum monster that you don't want to draw, and you contribute a monster or himself, and then summon a PredaPlant from your deck is how you get Darling Cobra's effect to go off. So that's how you get both a fusion-based card and a pretty much two fusion-based cards, now that I'm thinking about it. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't want to run this, you can just take out the PredaPlant stuff altogether. I mean, this card is still pretty good. I mean, if you guys want to see a PredaPlant deck, you know, be sure to let me know in the comments, or maybe we'll do a light go. First time doing that. For our second fusion super poly target, that was our one Garura. And now for the branded Despia part, we have the one Masquerade, just to make it so our opponent has to pay taxes to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty scummy card. We have the two Albion, that helps us go into even more fusion plays by banishing the materials from your hand, field, or graveyard. And at the end phase, the turn it's sent to the grave, you can set or add to your hand one of your branded spell or trap cards. We have the one Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, the Euro print. You probably can't see it well on the camera, but it's a little darker. We all know what he does. Pretty good. A monster that helps keep control of the field. I do play the one Searing Lubellion just because we can always shuffle this card back with its own effect. We have the one PredaPlant Dragostapelia for a walking breakthrough skill. For our third Super Poly target, we have the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Probably one of my favorite of the U-Boy dragons. If you've seen any of my other profiles, you do know that. Can gain attack points and steal a monster's effect. Next up, we do have the two Mirror Jade. Be able to send Albion to the graveyard to banish a monster on your opponent's field, but he can't use that effect again for the next two turns. Then we have the one Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, just for Omni Negate. And we do play the standard one Guardian Chimera. I mean, I didn't go too heavy into why I play a lot of these. I mean, a lot of these should be standard if you're playing a branded deck or Despia, whichever have you. But yeah, these are the fusions that I play. Now let's get into the side deck. Side deck's still a little work in progress, but here's what I've come up with. For monsters that I just can't seem to do anything against and they're just unaffected by everything, I do have the 3 Raiden. He also helps with the fusion fodder because he is a dark. And the Allure of Darkness because, you know, a dark again. I am choosing to side the 3 Forbidden Droplets just because Kashtira is still a thing, so you have to be wary about that. But with this, I can just go like activate one of my fusion spells. Do you have a response? No. Maybe they're waiting for the monster. Then I go, cool, chain this. Then send the fusion spell, send something from my hand or whatever. Or on my field. Then just negate stuff. And then you can respond with the same card that I sent to the grave. So it's a pretty good card. People should really start main decking probably. I do side in the 2 Lightning Storms and the 1 Feather Duster because back row does kind of hurt us. Things like Anti-Spell Fragrance or Tikaboo more so. I mean, this could definitely be considered to be changed out with like Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twisters. just because they can be chained to when they activate Tikaboo. Speaking of floodgates, we do have the 2 summon limit, because oftentimes when we're finished setting up first turn, we don't summon that many times later. The 2D barrier to stop things that do have a big impact, like synchros are getting big flux in, XCs are still pretty big flux in, so there's that. And the 2 evenly, just to clear the board of our opponent's stuff or bait out something. Well, that is it for my PredaPlant branded deck profile. Again, just wanted to bring this profile to you guys because I do like this deck, and part of me does want to get a lot of the stuff like the Quem and things, but they cost money, and I'm not trying to spend too much like that. Like, this card game is fun, but we do have bills and stuff to pay, so a lot of the real life stuff out the way. Again, if you guys enjoyed this profile, be sure to show me that by giving this video a like. Subscribe to my channel for more. I'm going to start posting some duels, so let me know what you guys want to see, or I'll just post it as it comes. And, put down in the comments of what you guys would play, what you guys wouldn't play. Again, I don't have the Bestial Lubellian and stuff. He's going to be reprinted in the new tins. I hope he should be. So whenever that happens, I will update this deck again. But until then, this is Max Clausen. Take care, guys.